जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तरशत श्री श्रीमद् अभय चरणारविंद His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada की जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तरशत श्री श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा गोपीनाथ भगवान की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet nashta prayeshva badreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya Bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone to this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam class. So today we are reading from Canto 3, Chapter 28, text number 32. Hasam Hare Ravanata Kila Lokatibra Hasam Hare Ravanata Kila Lokatibra Shokashrusagara Vishoshanamatyudharam Shokashrusagara Vishoshanam Atyudaram Sammohanaya rachitam nijamaya yasya Sammohanaya rachitam nijamaya yasya Bhrumandalam munikrite makaradvajasya Bhrumandalam munikrite makaradvajasya Hasam Hare Ravanata Kila Lokatibra Shokashrusagara Vishoshanamatyudaram Sammohanaya rachitam nijamaya yasya Bhrumandalam Munikrite Makaradvajasya Hare Ravanata Kila Lokatibram Kashrusagara Vishoshanamatyudharam Sammohanaya rachitam nijamaya yasya Bhrumandalam Munikrite Makaradvajasya. Matajis, would you like to recite? It's okay. Let's look at the word-to-word meaning. Hasam, the smile. Hare He, of Lord Shri Hari. Avanata, bowed. Akhila, all. Loka, for persons. Tivra shoka, caused by intense grief. Ashru sagara, the ocean of tears. Vishoshanam, drying up. Ati udaram, most benevolent. Sammohanaya, for charming. Rachitam, manifested. Nijamayaya, by his internal potency. Asya, his. Bhrumandalam, arched eyebrows. Munikrite, for the good of the sages. Makaradvajasya, of the sex god. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. A yogi should similarly meditate on the most benevolent smile of Lord Shri Hari, a smile which, for all those who bow to him, dries away the ocean of tears caused by intense grief. The yogi should also meditate on the Lord's arched eyebrows, which are manifested by his internal potency, in order to charm the sex god for the good of the sages. Please repeat. A yogi should similarly meditate on the most benevolent smile of Lord Shri Hari, a smile which, for all those who bow to him, dries away the ocean of tears caused by intense grief. The yogi should also meditate on the Lord's arched eyebrows, which are manifested by his internal potency, in order to charm the sex god for the good of the sages. Purport. Let's hear the purport. The entire universe is full of miseries, and therefore the inhabitants of this material universe are always shedding tears out of intense grief. There is a great ocean of water made from such tears. But for one who surrenders unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ocean of tears is at once dried up. One need only see the charming smile of the Supreme Lord. In other words, the bereavement of material existence immediately subsides when one sees the charming smile of the Lord. It is stated in this verse that the charming eyebrows of the Lord are so fascinating that they cause one to forget the charms of sense attraction. The conditioned souls are shackled to material existence because they are captivated by the charms of sense gratification, especially sex life. The sex god is called Makara Dhwaja. The charming brows of the Supreme Personality of Godhead protect the sages and devotees from being charmed by material lust and sex attraction. Yamunacharya, a great acharya, said that ever since he had seen the charming pastimes of the Lord, the charms of sex life had become abominable for him, and the mere thought of sex enjoyment would cause him to spit and turn his face. Thus, if anyone wants to be aloof from sex attraction, he must see the charming smile and fascinating eyebrows of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Jai, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Let's do Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Ena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapradantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bhuter Mahadbir Yaima Puro Vibhu Nirmaya Shete Yadamosha Purusha Bhunkter Gunam Shodasha Satmaka Solang Krishishta Bhagavan Vachamsi Me Shri Krishna Sharanam Sharanagatam Kata Amritam Satata Pibatam Bhakti Vedanta Marga Panktanam Sarvaloka Rishi Deva Janna Prasannam Sarvaloka Rishi Deva Janna Prasannam. Hare Krishna. So welcome again to this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam. For the pleasure of Shri Radha Gopinath, for For the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada, our gurus and all the Vaishnavas, let us today speak from Srimad Bhagavatam and hear the beautiful nectar that this verse is offering us. So today we have a very, very charming verse, yet something that goes very deep into our heart for a very deeper realization. So we'll just hear the translation once again. A yogi should similarly meditate on the most benevolent smile of Lord Sri Hari, a smile which for all those who bow to him dries away the ocean of tears caused by intense grief. The yogi should also meditate on the Lord's arched eyebrows, which are manifested by his internal potency in order to charm the sex god for the good of the sages. So we are hearing this beautiful conversation between Kapila Muni and Mother Devahuti, where Kapila Muni is guiding on how to meditate on the form of the Lord in the heart, Sri Vishnu. So starting from his beautiful lotus feet, which is our ultimate shelter. And just by looking at the Lord's lotus feet, it shatters all our agonies. It shatters the ignorance in our heart. And it shatters the mountain of sins that is stored in our mind. And the Lord's lotus feet is so special that the water that touched the lotus feet of the Lord is carried by none other than Lord Shiva on his head. That is the river Ganga, which has its source from the lotus feet of the Lord. And also at the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord is Goddess Lakshmi, who is serving him very carefully. She is sitting there and she is massaging the Lord's lotus feet. And then we have to meditate on the Lord's beautiful thighs, which are a storehouse of energy. And the Lord's thighs becomes even more graceful when the Lord is sitting on the shoulders of Garuda. So Garuda is the carrier of Lord Vishnu. So when Garuda is carrying Lord Vishnu, his thighs look, he's sitting so majestically and his thighs look so graceful and beautiful. And then we have to meditate on the Lord's beautiful hips, which are encircled by his hip belt. So the Lord is wearing a beautiful hip belt. When we take the darshan of Shri Radha Gopinath, we can see he's always wearing some nice, beautiful, jeweled belt around his hips. And then we look at the Lord's moon-like navel on his abdomen, from which the lotus stem sprouts, on which is seated Lord Brahma, from whom the entire creation happens. So the Lord's abdomen is the source of all the universes and all the planetary systems. And then we slowly go upwards and meditate on the Lord's nipples, which are like emeralds, like the emerald stones. They are so attractive. And then the Lord's pearl necklace, which adorns his neck. And the Lord's chest is so pleasing and soothing to the heart. Just by looking at the Lord's chest, our mind is completely satisfied, and it reaches its ultimate satisfaction of whatever we are seeking for. So just look at the Lord's chest and we will derive all the pleasure that one wants. And then the Lord's neck. So we meditate on the Lord's neck, which enhances the beauty of the Kaustuba gem that he is wearing around his neck. So the Kaustuba gem itself is not so beautiful, but because the Lord is wearing it, the Lord enhances the beauty of the Kaustuba gem. And then the Lord's four arms, which they give the power to all the demigods to carry out their functions. So we meditate on the Lord's four arms. And then the Lord's beautiful ornaments, all that he is wearing. And then his Shankha, Chakra and Gada. So he is holding the conch on one hand, which is like a swan, which resembles a swan sitting on his beautiful reddish palm. And then his Sudarshan Chakra. So the Lord uses his Sudarshan Chakra to kill demons. And then he is holding his club, Kaumodaki, which is very dear to him. And also he uses his club Kaumodaki to smash all the demons. So we know that Lord Varahadev, he used his Kaumodaki club in his amazing fight with the demon Hiranyaksha. And then we look at the Lord's beautiful garland, which is surrounded by buzzing bees. So the bees are all humming around the flowers of the Lord's garland. And then again his pearl necklace, which also represents the pure living entities who are serving the Supreme Lord. And then we go up and we look at the Lord's beautiful lotus face, which is so attractive and captivating that it dries up all our sufferings, our worries, our grief, our whatever we have. All that we have to do is simply come to the temple, look at Radha Gopinath's beautiful face, and we will forget everything else. So the Lord's cheerful countenance, that is his compassionate glances. So the Lord is always eagerly waiting to glance at us. It is only us who are turning away and just going towards everything else. So when the Lord is glancing at us, we have to be ready and eager to come and glance at the Lord even more, so we can have that eye-to-eye connection with Sri Krishna. And then the Lord's sharp nose, and then his shining cheeks, his crystal clear cheeks. Why are they shining? Because they are illuminated by the alligator-shaped earrings which he is wearing. So his earrings are going to and fro here and there, and they are shining. And then his cheeks are also shining. And then his curly locks of hair, and then his lotus petal-like eyes, and then his dancing eyebrows. And after all this, we zoom in closer into the Lord's face and we look at his beautiful smile. So when we look at the beautiful smile of Sri Krishna, we can hear in today's verse that it simply dries up our ocean of grief. So there is no one in this world who can say that, he or she is not worried about anything. There is always something in the back of our head. Something causing some kind of a misery or trouble or, something that might be disturbing. But the minute we look at the Lord's beautiful smile, what happens? We just forget everything. And then the Lord takes over our life. He takes charge of our life. And then his arched dancing eyebrows. So this is a very important point in today's verse, where when we meditate on the Lord's arched eyebrows, it helps us to conquer our lusty desires. Now, people in this world, no one can say that they have conquered their sexual desires 100%. Everyone is still striving. Everybody is at different levels of their spiritual journey. So when one is endeavoring from all their heart to conquer their material lusty desires, then when such a person looks at the beautiful eyebrows of the Lord's internal potency reciprocates with us. Because we are hearing in today's verse that the Lord's arched eyebrows are manifested by the Lord's internal potency, who is none other than Srimati Radharani herself. So when we come under the protection of Srimati Radharani, then what happens? She converts all our desires into spiritual desires. So we may be having different desires. It's okay. We just accept it. But when we come and we look at Radha Gopinath's beautiful eyebrows, then Srimati Radharani, who is there next to him, she says that here's this devotee who's come to take your darshan. Please be compassionate towards this person and turn all his or his desires into spiritual desires, so that we can constantly serve the Lord and derive our ultimate pleasure through that seva to Sri Krishna. So in today's class, let us try to meditate on the beautiful smile and the eyebrows of the Lord. So let us look at some beautiful verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, where we see many exalted devotees and personalities, how they saw the smile of the Lord. So when we see the Lord's smile through their eyes, then we get the proper vision. Because if we just come and simply see, we might just see, just some, okay, there's something red color there, some red, okay, right, reddish lipstick, or, the Lord's smile. But when we see through the eyes of the exalted devotees of Srimad Bhagavatam, then we can appreciate the even more subtler beauty of the Lord's smile. So let's begin with the four Kumaras. When they went to Vaikuntha, the four Kumaras were on the platform of impersonal understanding. So they didn't yet get the realization of seeing the personal form of the Lord. So when the four Kumaras, the sons of Lord Brahma, when they went to Vaikuntha, and when they were stopped by Jai and Vijay from entering the Vaikuntha planet, at the doorstep, what happened? There was an argument between the four Kumaras and Jai and Vijay. And the four Kumaras, they immediately cursed Jai and Vijay to go down from their position of being the doorkeepers of Vaikuntha. And at this time, on hearing this argument that is happening, what happened? Lord Vishnu immediately arrived there along with Goddess Lakshmi. And when Lord Vishnu arrived, the four Kumaras took his beautiful darshan, for which they were so eager. And at that time, the fragrance from the tulsi leaves that were at the lotus feet of the Lord, that fragrance entered the nostrils of the four Kumaras, and immediately their mind was transformed. Immediately they started appreciating the beauty of Lord Vishnu, who was right there in front of them. And at that time, we are hearing a beautiful description of the beauty of the Lord. Deva amushya vadanasita padmakosham udvikshya sundarataradhara kundahasam labdashisha punaraveksha tadiyamangri dvandvam nakarunamani shrayanam nidhadyu. The Lord's beautiful face appeared to them like the inside of a blue lotus, and the Lord's smile appeared to be a blossoming jasmine flower. After seeing the face of the Lord, the sages were fully satisfied, and when they wanted to see him further, they looked upon the nails of his lotus feet, which resembled rubies. Thus they viewed the Lord's transcendental body again and again, so they finally achieved meditation on the Lord's personal feature. So from the vision of the four Kumaras, we can see that the Lord's beautiful smile looks like a blossoming jasmine flower. So we can make a note of this point. So next time when we look at Radha Gopinath's smile, we don't just see his red lipstick, but, or rather, he's not wearing lipstick. We all wear. The Lord's lips are always reddish. They're so sweet and beautiful. But next time when we see, we can know that, oh, the Lord's smile looks like a beautiful jasmine flower. We now go on to Kardama Muni. So, sage Kardama Muni, before he got married to Mother Devahuti. So when Lord Brahma asked Kardama Muni to beget children, what did Kardama Muni do? He did 10,000 years of penance. And after doing 10,000 years of penance, Lord Vishnu appeared right in front of him, and he was ready to give him a benediction. And at that time, what did Kardama Muni see? Lord Vishnu, who appeared so beautiful, wearing a garland of white lotuses and lilies. And Kiritinam Kundalinam Shankha Chakra Gadadharam Shvetotpala Kridanakam Manasparsha Smitekshanam. So the Lord was adorned with a crown and earrings, Kiritinam Kundalinam, crown and earrings, and Shankha Chakra Gadadharam. He was holding the conch discus and the gada. And he was holding a white lily in his fourth arm. And he glanced about in a happy, smiling mood. So whenever Lord Vishnu appears, he is always smiling. He is always cheerful. So Lord Vishnu, no matter what worries, grief we have, and we look at him like this, or, crying, Lord Vishnu is just cheerfully looking at us. So Kardama Muni had done 10,000 years of penance, and we can imagine what a state of mind he would have been in, just so anxious, or, we don't know what was going on in his mind. But Lord Vishnu appeared with his smiling mood. And here we can hear that his smiling mood, whose sight captivates the hearts of all devotees. So, mana sparsha smitekshanam. So, smitekshanam, smita means smiling. So, the Lord is not also just smiling too much, like when he laughs. But when he smiles, he's having a very gentle, beautiful smile. And that is called smita. And when he is smiling like that and looking at us, it touches our heart. It just captivates our heart. So next time when we look at Radha Gopinath, we can reflect on this point. That is mana sparsha smitekshanam. Oh, Shri Radha Gopinath, your smile is just captivating my heart. You're just drawing my heart towards you. So we can see with that vision. And then now we have been meditating on Lord Vishnu. But for us as devotees, Krishna is our most dearmost. And who is Krishna's most dearmost? The gopis. So let us see how they saw the Lord's beautiful smile. So during one of Sri Krishna's Pauganda pastimes, when Krishna and Balram and the Gopas, when they were playing at Talavana, that is the forest of Tala, that is, it gave the fruits. There were the trees in that forest. They had some beautiful, fragrant, sweet tasting fruits. So all the Gopa boys and, Krishna Balram, they wanted to eat these fruits. So when they went there, what happened? Dhenukasura, the ass demon, who was kind of the ruler, or he was thinking that he is the leader of that forest. So what did Dhenukasura do? As soon as Krishna Balram and the Gopas came there, he just attacked them. He was like, who is this who has come into my territory? And Dhenukasura, he started having a fight with Lord Balram. And then what happened? Lord Balram, he just took Dhenukasura and he just whirled him into the trees. And then all the trees, they just shattered and they fell down. And when Dhenukasura was thrown like that, all the other ass demons, they came running to see what's happening. So immediately Krishna Balram, they had a fight and they just threw away all these ass demons and they just smashed them away. And after this, Krishna Balram along with the Gopas, they were returning to Vraja. So when they were returning, the Gopas and everybody, they were singing the glories of Krishna and Balram. And as they were entering Vraja, at this time the gopis were looking at their dear Shri Krishna. Now these gopis were young girls, they were very shy. They didn't want to look at Krishna, but at the same time, they also wanted to look at him. So very shyly they were looking at Krishna. And what do we hear here? Tam gorajas churita kuntala baddha barha vanya prasuna ruchirekshana charuhasam Venum kvanantamanugair upagita kirtim Gopya didrikshita drisho bhyagamam sametha. Lord Krishna's hair, powdered with the dust raised by the cows, was decorated with a peacock feather and forest flowers. The Lord glanced charmingly and smiled beautifully, playing upon his flute, while his companions chanted his glories. The gopis all together came forward to meet him. Their eyes were very eager to see him. So here we can see that as the gopis were trying to look at Krishna, Krishna also looked at them very charmingly. He also glanced upon them. So from this we can see that, following in the footsteps of the gopis, we also have to be eager to come and glance at Krishna. So when we come and when we look at him, then Krishna also glances at us. So he is also looking at us. So it is not like when we come here, just we are taking darshan of Krishna. But Krishna is, rather Gopinath is also taking darshan of us. So then we have to imagine, oh my God, rather Gopinath is going to look at me. Then how should I go and present myself? I'm not going to, just go like in some shattered clothes or something unpleasant. So we always have to dress nicely, dress neatly, so that we are going there to look at Radha Gopinath, so that he can look at us and he can smile. So next time we can meditate on his beautiful smile from this perspective. I have to be clean, I have to be fresh, I have to make myself attractive so that Radha Gopinath will get attracted to me and he will take me closer to him. So next we will look at the wives of the Brahmanas. So when Krishna, Balram and the cowherd boys, when they went to beg for food, from the Brahmanas who were doing the yajna, then the Brahmanas refused to give. Then Krishna said, go and ask the wives of the Brahmanas. They will give it to you. So then when the Gopas went, what did the Brahmanas' wives do? They immediately cooked up a big feast and they carried so many vessels full of all the different delicacies because their dear Krishna and Balram were coming. They were entering the forest. They were entering the garden near Yamuna. So as Krishna and Balram, when they were entering a beautiful garden which was filled with Ashoka trees. So as Krishna and Balram were entering, the wives of the Brahmanas, they were taking darshan of Krishna. And what did they see? Shyamam hiranya paridhim vanamalya barha dhatu pravala nataveshamanavritamshe vinyasta hastamitarena dunanamabjam karnotpalalaka kapola mukhabjahasam. His complexion was dark blue and his garment golden, wearing a peacock feather, colored minerals, sprigs of flower buds and a garland of forest flowers and leaves. He was dressed just like a dramatic dancer. He rested one hand upon the shoulder of a friend and with the other twirled a lotus. Lilies graced his ears, his hair hung down over his cheeks, and his lotus-like face was smiling. So just seeing this beautiful vision of Krishna, the wives of the Brahmanas, they took Krishna into their heart through their eyes, and they embraced him within their heart for a very long time. And by doing that, they overcame their anxiety and their separation from Krishna. So here we are saying that we saw that the Lord's beautiful face, which is covered by his curly locks of hair, his lilies hanging, and his lotus-like face was smiling. So again, now when we see Radha Gopinath's beautiful smile, we have to draw Krishna into our heart. So we should not just come and see Radha Gopinath and, okay, Radha Gopinath, Hare Krishna, bow down, go home. No, we have to literally draw Krishna into our heart. Or rather, he is always there in our heart, but we are not turning towards him. So by the process of bhakti, slowly, we can purify our mind, purify our heart, so that Krishna can then take a seat in our clean heart. Now, all of us may not be there yet, because we have our different conditionings, through so many years or so many cycles of birth. So we are carrying all that. But by turning to Radha Gopinath, by turning to bhakti, by serving devotees, by serving Krishna, by taking to this path, we can slowly appreciate the form of Shri Krishna, and then we can develop that pure love for him. So yesterday, His Grace Prabhavadas Prabhuji was saying how our entire process of Krishna consciousness is a meditation on the Supreme Lord. So simply by coming to temples, simply by serving devotees, simply by doing different sevas, we are also meditating on the Lord. But we refine our mind and heart to zoom into the Lord's actual form. So when we see Radha Gopinath, we don't just see that, they are just deities, or they are just, made of marble or statue. But we see that they are really Krishna and Srimati Radharani. We try to develop that vision. So we will now meditate on the next part of the verse, which is on the eyebrows of the Lord. So it is said that when we meditate on the Lord's arched eyebrows, we can overcome our lusty desires. Now, how this happens, we do not know, because we may not have practically experienced something like that. But simply because our Shastras are saying, we just follow it. So we have that faith that when I meditate on Lord Krishna's arched eyebrows, because Srimati Radharani's, she is, it is her power that has manifested this beautiful eyebrows of Shri Krishna. It is, I'm coming under the shelter of Shri Radha Gopinath's internal potency, his Hladini Shakti. When we have complete faith in all this, then Radha Gopinath takes care of our desires, or Krishna takes charge of our desires, and then he helps us to overcome. So Srila Prabhupada has given the example of Yamuna Charya. So Yamunacharya was a great Sri Vaishnava saint. He was also called as Alavandar, that is the one who conquered. So once in a debate with a great king in South India, his name was Kolahala. So in a debate with the king, this Yamunacharya, who was only a small boy at that time, he actually won the debate. And then after that, he became very, very famous. So Yamunacharya is the predecessor of Sri Ramanujacharya, who is one of the great saints in the Sri Vaishnava tradition. And Yamunacharya is also the grandson of Nada Muni, who actually compiled the 4,000 verses of Nalayira Divya Prabandham. So Nalayira Divya Prabandham, they contain a set of verses in praise of Lord Vishnu with the mode of surrender. So Yamunacharya is the one who Nada Muni is the one who compiled it in its present format that we have. So his grandson was Yamunacharya. So Yamunacharya has also composed a set of 62 verses called in the Stotra Ratna. And here he presents the mode of surrender to Lord Vishnu. So there in one of the verses, he speaks about the beautiful face and the arched eyebrows of Lord Vishnu. So let us hear that verse. Prabhuddha mugdambuja charulochanam Savibhrama brulatam ujjvaladharam Suchismitam komalagandam unnasam Lalata paryanta vilambitalakam. So Yamunacharya says, O Lord, whose eyes are handsome as charming newly blossomed lotuses, O Lord, who has graceful eyebrow vines, O Lord, whose lips are glorious, O Lord, who smiles splendidly, O Lord, whose cheeks are delicate and soft, O Lord, who has a raised nose, O Lord, whose curling locks of hair touch your forehead. And then what is he saying? By serving you constantly, one is freed from all material desires and is completely pacified. When shall we engage as your permanent eternal servant and always feel joyful to have such a perfect master? So Yamunacharya is glorifying the beautiful form of Lord Vishnu. And here he is saying that his eyebrows are like beautiful vines. That is, Savibhrama brulatam. Lata means a creeper. So the Lord's arched eyebrows are like a beautiful creeper. So next time when we look at Sri Radha Gopinath eyebrows, we don't see just the eyebrows, but we reflect, oh, Radha Gopinath, your eyebrows, they look like a beautiful creeper. And may you draw all my attraction towards you. So on that note, we will end with a beautiful verse from Sri Krishnashtakam, which again glorifies the beauty of Sri Krishna. That is, he is adorned with a beautiful Atasi flower. and he's shining with beautiful garlands, and he's wearing anklets and jeweled bangles and armlets, and he's having a beautiful curly locks of hair, and his face is just like a full moon, and he is smeared with fragrant sandalwood paste, and charu hasam, one who has a lovely smile, and with his 4 hands, chaturbhujam, and he has a peacock feather on his head, and to this beautiful Sri Krishna, whose eyes are like fully blown lotus petals, and whose body is like the dark water-laden cloud, one who is the crest jewel of the Yadava clan. To that Lord Krishna I bow down. Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. So we will sing this little song. Atasi pushpa sankasham haranupurakeyuram ratna kankanakeyuram krishnam vande jagadgurum. Atasi pushpa sankasham haranupurashobitam ratnakankanakeyuram krishnam vande jagadgurum. Kutilalakasamyuktam purnachandranibananam vilasat kundaladaram krishnam vande jagadgurum. Mandara gandha samyuktam charuhasam chaturbhujam barhi pinchavachodangam krishnam vande jagadgurum. Utpulla padma patraksham neelajimuta sannibham yadavanam shiroratnam krishnam vande jagadgurum. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Everyone, Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Gaura Bhaktavinda ki jai. Any questions or comments? Thank you, Prabhuji. Shri Radha Gopinath's mercy. Let us keep meditating on him. Yes.
I've been into this like
Mm-hmm.
one year and more.
Very nice.
I have experienced so like immense negative energy kind of attacking me,
Mm-hmm.
like kind of daily basis. But
Okay.
I keep my spirit high.
Sure.
I'm just devoted to the God,
Yes.
now to the Krishna.
Okay.
Yeah, I meditate in the different forms before.
Mm-hmm.
I had experienced the different stages of the bhakti path as well.
Okay.
And then now my heart desires for the Krishna,
Very
God,
nice.
God, that I can surrender myself to the like
To Krishna.
yeah, rest of my
Beautiful.
life.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes it's kind of so many questions in my head that
Okay.
why it is happening to me.
Hmm.
Is there any way to like to get relation of these negative
Yes.
people?
Okay. So, what happens is when we take to the path of Krishna consciousness, we are just beginning to get purified. So, our heart and our mind is carrying a lot of past anarthas. That is through so many cycles of birth. You know, in our previous life, we may have been some animal, or, you know, we don't know what we have been, or even humans, but we may have hurt people, something we would have done. So we carry all that baggage of karma with us. And then when we take to Krishna consciousness, we begin with the cleaning process. So, you know, when we clean the floor, so let's say if this floor is, you know, just full of dirt or something, you know, like on a Sunday night after everybody has come and danced, the mats are thrown here and there, and there's, you know, some people come with dirty socks. So there's a lot of sand. It will look so dirty. Now, when we look at that, we might think, oh, Krishna, what is all this dirt and mud? And, you know, what is this? I don't want this. It's so negative. But then what we do, we take the broom and we start cleaning. We take all the mats, we put them away. We bring a vacuum cleaner and we start cleaning the whole hall. So like that, when we start chanting, okay, you can chant once. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So when we keep chanting and when we keep hearing Krishna Katha, like you have done today, which is a very wonderful thing, you've come to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. When we hear all this, then through sound vibrations, Krishna goes into our heart and he starts cleaning. So when the cleaning is happening, a lot of negative things will come up initially. You know, so we might feel a lot of tears, we'll be crying, you know, all the more we will feel like, oh, you know, why so much more trouble? So it's like a detox process. So have you heard of the detoxification? What happens is, you know, people drink detox juices or they go on a detox diet, like, you know, 16 hours of intermittent fasting. So what happens when the body has actually gathered a lot of toxins inside our body? It's called yama in Ayurveda. Then they put you through a detox diet. And at that time, what happens? All the toxins get removed. So when someone drinks a detox juice, immediately they have to, you know, get the toxins out from their body. So like that, initially, all our negativity is getting removed. So you have to be happy that you're actually getting these negative emotions, because Krishna brings those negative things in front of us. So when Arjuna was going to fight just before the war, he was first placed in front of Bhishma Dev, Dronacharya, with whom he had his maximum attachment. So when we are going through this cleaning process, the things that we are most attached to, they come to the forefront. So at that time, we shouldn't get alarmed. So all our desires, you know, all the wrong desires will pop up like Kalinga's head, 1,000 heads. But then what happens as we keep chanting, we keep hearing, just come to the temple, keep serving, take up more services. As you keep doing all this, then Krishna takes charge of our life. And even without you knowing, within a blink of an eye, all those negative things will go away. So all you need is just faith. Okay? Keep that Shraddha. So Shraddha, from Shraddha to Prema. Prema means attaining pure love for Krishna. So in that night, there are 9 stages of bhakti. So it starts with Shraddha. Then we faith. Then we hear. Then we chant. Bhajana Kriya. Then Sadhu Sangha. We associate with devotees. So by doing all this, just make more devotee friends. Then devotees become your family. So when devotees become your family, then they can help you. So like that, with all that, slowly anartha nivritti. So then all your negative things, everything, your worries, anxiety will go away. So just come and look at Radha Gopinath's smile we saw today. Our intense grief will disappear. And then slowly, one day you'll attain pure love for Krishna, and then you can go back to Krishna's Goloka. And there you will have nothing negative. Because when you are with Krishna, you only have everything that is positive. Okay, so in this life and in this world itself, we can experience when we are with devotees, when we are in the temple.
Another question. Because like my body is so sensitive, so I can detect like if a person has so much negativity into them.
What?
By them, then my body is like,
Yeah. So what you do, you pray to Radha Gopinath. Then Krishna can help you to move away from that negative energy. Okay? So because on our own we cannot do anything.
normal like that happens to like devotees when they are on this path?
Yes, everyone goes through because we are all human beings, isn't it? So even personally, I have had very, very, very intense negative situations in my life. But from that, slowly, by having faith in Krishna, with Krishna's protection, now I am completely under his shelter. So now Radha Gopinath is my family. Devotees are my family. So then what happens? Whatever is there that is not conducive to your life, that will go away on its own. So you don't even have to worry about it. Okay, so this is just the starting stage. So don't get anxious. Just have that faith that now I have come to take Krishna's shelter, and therefore now I am under Krishna's full protection. So yes, so what to speak of all of us, even Draupadi, isn't it? Draupadi was put in such a negative situation, but she simply threw her hands and she said, "Hey Govinda," and she started crying to Krishna. And what did Krishna do? He gave her yards of sari and he protected her. So we take all this as inspiration. And keep your faith, keep coming to the temple. And you never know, as you keep growing in your bhakti, one day you will be sitting here and you will be telling all the devotees how to be cheerful. Okay? Okay, Hare Krishna.